as the station whose reach you cannot beat. All right. So if we have gone that far in the country, where else should we go? Of course, we have to go international. And that was one thing we could easily do, but when nobody had the political will to do it. So I thought that should be done. Secondly, and more importantly, the story at the time was that the white or the Western world was always looking down on Africa. They were always carrying stories of flood in Mozambique,
always some negative story.
Yes, some negative story in Mozambique and this and that, human this. So, and I said, look, why don't we tell our own story? Ourselves. And so it's not enough to tell the story. You have to create a channel for telling it. And I thought that creating NTA International will give us a channel to tell the rest of the world our own side of the story. So they can now look at it against the kind of things they have been saying. Because for someone like me who had been in the system for so long, I never liked this European attitude towards Africa. My attitude to African issues is that rather than bemoan our fate, rather than quarrel that, the Western world is not projecting us in proper perspective, we should project ourselves. So I had that feeling. And I thought I could conveniently do it, especially at a time when the internet was just coming in and you could use it. You could do a lot of things with the facilities available. NTA had 8 OB vans.
Yes.
And they were all packed in one venue. And it looked like a motor park. But by just distributing those vans to different parts of the country, we were able to create more than 8 channels for NTA to get to the rest of the world.
Yes.
Why not do that? And we did, with ease. So today I can sit down and say, I started NTA International. But the facilities for doing it were there. People before me just didn't do it.
And of course, apart from NTA International, hitherto before you became the DG of NTA, maybe just Lagos or even Abuja were running 24 hours. But when you became the Director General of NTA, you created zonal centers. Most stations of NTA were running 24 hours. Now, is it still a case of the political will to do these things, or you got some greater measure of support from the government of the day for you to be able to achieve all of this?
Well, let's put it like this. If by greater support you mean financial, I didn't. In fact, I got less than my predecessors used to get. In my time, there was no capital grants given to NTA. For the 5 years that I was there, NTA got 0 allocation. And the reason was because NTA did not know how to lobby. We did not know how to go and beg some legislators to give us monies, and then we return some of it to them. So we never got anything in my days. All right?
But you made money.
Yes, that's different. You are talking about internally generated revenue, but I'm talking about government allocation.
That ought to be.
Yes. So when that allocation never came, it was an impetus for me to look for how to survive. And I went into introspection. I went into what are the strengths of NTA, and I realized that we can really garner huge sums of money from adverts, especially at that time when we were the only ones everywhere. So, and we're getting far more money than government should have given to us. So we had enough money to do quite a lot of things. So in the area of money, I didn't get anything from government. All right. I also am grateful that I didn't make the mistake of telling government to let NTA be on its own. And then pay the salaries by ourselves. Because if I had done that, it would have been difficult for NTA to exist today. Because the circumstances have changed. But in those days when I was DG NTA, I had so much money that I was able to pay 13th month to all staff as reward for hard work for the year. I was able to give rice to every staff. And when you say rice, not cup, a bag of rice to every staff. Because the resources were there. And these resources were things I did on my own. I set up a team and we got it from government.
Okay.
You see, before me, when government brings an advert, they don't pay. In my time, you have to pay.
You made them pay?
Yes.
How?
If you don't pay, I won't show it.
But you would have stepped on a lot of toes.
So many. And they went to report me. And I was able to tell those they were reporting me to that they are reporting me because they didn't pay for our service. And if you know the kind of president we had at the time.
Yes.
So when you go to report me, the president will ask you whether you have paid. Then you know he has an idea. I think there was somebody who went to report me to the president, and the president asked him if he had paid. He told the president that I didn't give him invoice. So the president asked him, do you want to come and collect it here? so on the day of NTA International,
yes,
I publicly commended the government for paying for our services. And people were surprised. All the live coverage that was done in my time
were paid.
Yes. The office of the president paid for all the live coverage that NTA did for government. And it wasn't small. At that time, it was about 6 million. So we had resources. But that won't happen now because you are not going to be able to beat your chest and say, we will not cover if you didn't pay. Because the circumstances have changed.
Different.
Yes. The circumstances have changed. And it's not about who is there today. It's about what has transpired
over time
till today. It's not the person there today that will solve the problem that was brought 4 years back, 5 years back, 10 years back, you know. So that kind of, you start a problem without realizing that to stop it will be a really big problem in future. So that was the kind of thing. So I had all the resources for doing it. But more than the resources, I had this belief that every month I should be able to tell government something new that I've done.
Okay.
That was my own method of targeting.
Okay.
So each month I will go to the meeting and I will say, this month, NTA stations that are on air now have moved from 42 to 46. Next month, I will say, has moved to 47. Like that. And so at the point at which I was leaving NTA, there were 68 stations on air.
Yes.
And they were doing 24 hours. If you didn't do 24 hours, I will invite the GM of that station to come to my office, to come and work in my office, and I'll send somebody else there who can do 24 hours. So everybody was up and doing. So that's why I say circumstances have changed. But I think that those were the things that helped me, and it helped me to do some of the things I did. Stepping on toes, like you said, yes. But the only thing about me is that each toe I stepped on, I never knew the toe was there. It's not that I was looking for a toe to step on.
You were just doing.
I was just stepping. I was just stepping on the normal path to where I'm going. So if you put your foot there,
well,
I will step on it and get to where I'm going.
Where you're going. And coming to you, given monthly reports on your achievements in NTA, I recall also that you weren't just a director general. You continued to produce and even present. You produced Scorecard. You were presenting Point Blank. And of course, that was vintage Tony Aradia, who would take on anyone and everyone without mincing words. How easy was it for you to combine all of this together, bearing in mind that the whole of NTA rested on the shoulders?
Well, okay. Thank you very much for the good things you have said. What it takes to do it is not as hard as people think, because in the last couple of minutes, that's exactly what you have been doing. You have been asking me questions the way you like, right? You have been following up your own way. If you are hiding anything, that's between you and yourself. So what I'm saying really is that I don't see the reason why you should be scared of a question you want to ask. I think you should ask your questions and follow up. The purpose of asking those hard questions really was to create room for more information to come out, for everybody to really know what is happening. And that was why we did that. But more importantly, Point Blank was supposed to be a signature tune.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that when you as an individual watch NTA and you see the Director General asking government officials tough questions that could create problem all over the place, then you know that NTA is nowhere to go and fumble. You don't go and talk to NTA people anyhow, because you know that they have a Director General that
yes.
tear you to pieces. So those things were deliberate. They were strategic, you know. And so I decided I must continue to do that program, because that was the program that brought me to limelight. I started off as an interviewer, so I ended up as an interviewer. I also believe that when you are posted to management positions, it shouldn't stop your capacity to exhibit your professional potentials. It shouldn't, yes. If you are a professor and you become a vice chancellor, does that remove the knowledge of the discipline in which you are a professor?
No, it doesn't.
And once in a while, you should go and deliver a lecture. Not just deliver a lecture, you should deliver a lecture in a manner in which everybody will say, oh yes, this person is a VC. All right? So when I ask questions on point blank, many of my staff will say, yes, this is the DG. And I did so in different parts of the country. I remember I went to Kaduna once to interview some people, and I asked the local interviewer in the place to sit down just by me so that he can see how it goes.
Yes.
And when we finished, I asked him what was his impression. He said, the things that I asked, they don't know them here. And I was asking about Kaduna, and he said he didn't know them. So I said, what does that tell you? He said, it means we don't do enough research. I said, great. That's the first thing. But great interviews, you must do research. You must have all the information that are relevant to the person you have invited, so that when he's going off the line, you can bring him back. Yes, but I say, no, this is what we're talking about. So those were some of the issues, really, that made me say, I must continue to be a professional. And so when you begin to accuse an NTA staff for doing X, Y, Z, you yourself, you are conscious of the fact that his Director General was doing worse.
Still talking about NTA and her presence all over Nigeria. One thing that I know, yes, we've had the industry liberalized and we have a lot of television stations around now. But one thing I know for sure is that the strength of NTA lies in her terrestrial transmission. But we also know that the whole world is going digital, and we're having the digital switchover here in Nigeria. How do you see NTA being able to hold her own, bearing in mind that our strength lies in our terrestrial transmission?
Well, I think that in the next couple of decades, as much as that, both systems have to be kept.
Okay.
You can't move away from the terrestrial, because development is not taking place in the same way all over the world.
Not at the same level.
Yes, quite often we keep talking about America in a country like ours that doesn't even have a public transportation system. So when you talk about America, you should be looking at the level of development, and you must think of that before you begin to say other things. So for me, really, you are talking about digital transmission. What has happened to the digitization process? People like us who are outside should be asking people like you who are inside, what have you done about digitization? They say we're going to open some handover stations or whatever they call them. How many have been opened? Out of 37, have we opened 4? If we have not, why are we so positive about digitization? So I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. That's not to say digitization is not good. It's the latest, it's the modern thing, it's the global reality. Best practices presume that we should do that. But there are many things to be done before you get to that level. And if they are not done, there will be a problem. For example, content development and production. And that's what I think the NBC should really focus upon at this point in time. Some time ago, the NBC decided how many percentage of transmission should be local, how many should be foreign.
Yes.
And it achieved a lot. They need to go further. They need to go further to give more targets that can push people.
Okay.
They also need to register content providers. They are a different kettle of fish. A television station does not have to be a content provider. what is happening right now is that the stations are being used as content providers. But we can have content providers and create jobs. And so people who don't work for anybody, they just create content. We need to encourage them. But that's not all now. So we need to do more.
In terms of content creation. Now, one of the major achievements, your major achievements during your time in NTA is also the fact that you were able to bring all political parties to the table. You gave every political party equal space, equal opportunities to be heard. Were you not in any way worried that you might have been seen not to be too supportive of the government of the day, the ruling party of the day?
Thank you very much. This is one of the best questions you have asked today, because it reminds me of things that have happened, and it is supposed to also teach lessons. And this is the right time for it, because we are entering the campaign period now, where people will be demanding space. Good. Two things are important. The first is that everybody is entitled to your space.
Okay.
By law. All right? The second is that you must be fair and balanced. You cannot give party A 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. and give party B 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Both of them are 1 hour. All right? Or 2 hours, as the case may be. But one is in the middle of the night when there's nobody watching. The other is in the prime time. It's not equal. So it's not enough to provide the quantum of space. It must be balanced and equal. Now, coming to how difficult it is to do it, you have just made a point. What did I do? Before the time, I had written to government to say, politics is coming. This is what the law says NTA should do. This is what we want to do. These are things we have put down. And nobody replied me. Because as usual, government people don't read anything. Okay. But I wanted to be on record that I said, this is what I'm going to do. So when the time was approaching, I took my team and visited all the headquarters of all the political parties in Abuja. And each visit was televised. And the message was that we are under obligation to give you space to educate Nigerians on your policies and your manifesto. So if you don't take it, it's your fault. And everybody was surprised. Federal government station, say everybody is entitled as well. And I was invited to government to come and explain, why am I doing this?
Doing that.
And when I had explained, I was also asked to look at the implication. Are you saying that the ruling party should not have an advantage? And I said,
over the others.
And I said, exactly, that is what I am saying. He said, is that fair? Don't you think the party's people will be very angry? They might say we should not. So I now explained that it would be wrong for you to allow a law to say that we should grant equal opportunities to everybody, and to use strength and might to stop us from granting it. Because that means that we are going to be breaching the law.
The law.
Maybe the lawyer in me played a role there, but I insisted and I kept singing that we cannot have a law that says give equal opportunity, and we have an administrative directive that says don't give equal opportunity. All right? So everybody saw that there was some problem, and they started using different methods, different coercive means to say, okay, but you have to also help us. Don't forget we are the ones that put you there, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but that's a different matter. And when the time comes, I won't be the one doing it. I'm not a producer of those programs, but I will insist and tell my staff, this is what you must do. You must give all the parties equal opportunity. Now, what is the meaning of equal opportunity? Equal opportunity does not mean that if you don't take yours, you are still entitled.
Once you've lost it, you've lost it.
So people must understand.
And we'll be on record that you lost it.
Good. So it's not just equal opportunity, but equal competence. If you are not working, if you are producing 3 rallies in a month, and somebody is producing 18, Do you want us to show only 3 of the person producing 18 because you were only able to produce 3?
Definitely not.
So equal opportunities is objective.
Yes.
The capacity of each political party will also determine
what
whether
opportunities they get.
So for me, really, I never allowed all those little steps that were being taken to politicize the system. And like I said at the beginning, it's all about politicization. Once some people in the system got there through politics, they will play that game.
They will play the game.
Yes.
And not, the way it ought to be.
And not the merit, yes. They will play that game.
Professor Tony Iridia, you are retired. But obviously, from the little I know of you, you're not tired. And so it's been one thing or the other. How has life in retirement, quote unquote, been for you? What has it been apart from being within the academia?
Well, retirement doesn't mean idleness. What it means is that you cannot continue to do the tedious job you have been doing. So for me, I think anybody who has retired should try to do other things. And what I decided to do is to pay back to society the gains I made in my career. And I found the best way to do so to be to impart knowledge by going to the academia to tell people what it takes to be in broadcasting. In fact, I'm enjoying the opportunity of making people recognize the difference between theory and practice of broadcasting. Yes. And that's why I have taken to that, because I think that's the only way I can say thank you to society for all that I got, because not many people can get to where I got to by merit.
By merit.
By merits. Not many people can get there without having somebody pushing them. But I didn't have anybody pushing me. And the story I keep saying to everywhere, if you go to my file in the NTA, from page 1 to the end, there's something you will not see. You will not see letter of promotion, because I was never promoted.
No?
This is a good point for ending this interview. I was never promoted.
How do you mean?
I never received any letter of promotion.
Yet you kept moving.
But there are many ways of being elevated. Promotion is not the only way. Promotion is what you get when people are looking at how long you have been there, and whether, I don't know whether to use the word, when it is your turn, right? So you get promoted. But you can also get elevated without following the promotion line. If internal and external applications are required from people, you go for interview. If you get it, you get it. All right? So you get elevated. So all my life, I always got elevated. I never got promoted. Because to get promoted sometimes can include whether you greet people in the morning. But to get elevated involves how best is this, how good is this person able to do this? What are his credentials? Do they sound well? Are they good? What has been his background? What has been his, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Because you've really opened my eyes to a lot of things, even though, yes, I worked, thank you very much. I have been speaking with a man who has been elevated all of his life without one single promotion letter. A former Director General of the Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, and that's why this conversation holds so dear to my heart. And of course, he is a professor of broadcast management and media law. That's talking about Professor Tony Iridia, OON. I do hope you've learned a thing or two from this conversation, and you know more about NTA, how it operated then, even our electoral policies and Nigeria in general. Let's do this again same time on the network service of the NTA, talking about executive discuss next week. I am Ololade Adeniji Adele. Keep believing in Nigeria. Bye.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Hello and welcome to another amazing edition of your weekend.
I'm telling you, oh, it has to be heat and it has to be steamy, it has to be hot. But we decided that, somebody has to tell a story that is family oriented.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Movie.
Was everyone he ever cared about.
See, when you say pour out, you can't call water. You can't see, you don't excavate water.
This is a #1 program, Gallery.
Do you love to gist or gossip?
It's marriage to death sentence. It is extremely wrong. And we cannot take it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Whip and Grill.
Welcome to the slant today, where we say it as it is and we get to enjoy ourselves talking about various things that are happening in our society.
Beyond 6 packs.
Because your job still remains as the man to protect the woman, to project the woman.
You need to do that again.
Is a mustard seed, then nurture it.
Plateau State government takes steps to complete ongoing projects. Governor Lalong inaugurates Resource Center, restates commitment to quality education. Jos University Teaching Hospital marks World Breast Cancer Month. Hello and welcome to Panorama, coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Jos. I am Felicia Daliop Samaila. Thanks for joining us. Do remember you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng live, and on YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians of adequate security as security agencies work round the clock to ensure safety of life and property. This is coming against the background of security alerts issued by United States and United Kingdom to their nationals in Nigeria. The president urges citizens not to panic but remain calm, as Nigeria is no exception to having terror threats listed in foreign governments' travel advisory to citizens. The president, in a statement, also pointed out a high likelihood of terror attacks in many Western European nations and the advice to their respective citizens for travel contains same warning. He said since the July prison raid, security measures have been reinforced in and around the FCT, just as heightened monitoring and interception of terrorist communications ensure potential threats are caught further upstream. attacks, the president says, are being foiled. Security agents are proactively rooting out threats to keep citizens safe. Much of their work are unseen and necessarily confidential. While urging security agencies to be extra vigilant, President Buhari commends their efforts for the recent turnaround in the nation's security and advises them not to let down their guard as the festive period approaches. He expressed optimism that the nation will emerge victorious against the current challenges following ongoing efforts of security and intelligence agencies with the active support of the civilian population. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the successful hosting of the UNESCO Media and Information Week in Abuja is a vindication and testament that Nigeria is indeed safe. The minister stated this at the closing of the Media and Information Media Week in Abuja. Anthony Fosun reports. At the close.
The huge success of the 2022 Global Media and Information Literacy Week, with the first-hand experience of guests from all over the world, is a clear testimony of the organizational ability and warmth of Nigerians.
The successful hosting of an international event in a week marked by petrifying terror alerts is also a testament to the great efforts of our security forces in keeping residents of our capital city and indeed our country safe, despite the antics of terrorists who are continually plotting to destabilize our nation's peace and security.
The minister added that Nigeria has made history with the adoption of the Abuja Declaration document on global financing and media information literacy, an imperative to fight against disinformation and build trust.
Given the frightening dimension of the impact of the surge of disinformation across the globe on the relationship between the government and the governed, institutions, communities, religious organizations, etc., there is a need to forge a common front to confront this menace by advancing a global funding to deal with the issue of disinformation.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, in his video message, called on member nations to come up with policies that will build confidence so that people can make choices. Equally, via video, UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Communication and Information, while commending Nigeria for making history through the successful hosting of the Media and Information Literacy Week, said UNESCO is working to create suitable information ecosystem. Therefore, member nations must ensure they create the necessary atmosphere that will make the declaration workable. Nigeria's ambassador and permanent representative to UNESCO, Hajo Sani, expressed satisfaction with a firm commitment that Nigeria is on the right path.
The Global Media and Information Literacy Week 2022, we all stand with UNESCO. And for what? For change. And we are going to make all the necessary changes required to do away with misinformation, disinformation, and fake news in our own capacity.
Media and information literacy is key to rebuilding trust among citizens, audiences, national institutions, the media, and digital platforms.
With these being carried along as the document have them in focus. In Abuja, Anthony Fosun, NTA News.
Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed says Senate will need to invite the Central Bank of Nigeria to get more clarifications on the planned Naira redesign. She stated this while appearing before the committee to defend the 2023 budget proposal of her ministry. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and her team are here as part of the statutory function of a ministry to the legislature. But the committee decided to seek further clarification on the issue of the new policy of the nation's apex bank concerning the design of Naira notes.
So, Honorable Minister, what do you think? One, as to the timing of this CBN policy, and two, as to whether or not this is something that needs to be done at this point.
We were not consulted. It was an announcement that we had. And I've seen.
Okay, you two, you just saw the press release like every other body.
Part of the reasons that was advocated is that's one of the ways to mop up liquidity to manage inflation. But there are also consequences that we're also looking at. What would the consequences be? There will be some benefits, but there will be some challenges.
The Senate committee also sought clarifications on payments of subsidies.
We are thinking that in view of the challenges we are facing, the revenue shortfall in particular, isn't it time for us to consider withdrawal of subsidy?
Our petroleum product we imported in Nigeria, some are taken to Burkina Faso, to Cote d'Ivoire, to other countries. And all those products, we are paying subsidy on them.
What we are glad about now is that Nigerians themselves are asking for this removal, because people now understand what we've been saying, that the benefit that we think the fuel subsidy is having for the people is not actually benefiting the people.
When the acting accountant general of the Federation faced the committee, issues relating to benefits accruable to the nation from the remitter platform was the focus of the discourse. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
An apparent response to claims by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, that her ministry was not carried along by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, in the ongoing process of redesigning 3 series of the Naira. The bank insists it followed the law and due process to carry out the exercise, which is 12 years due. The spokesman of the CBN, Mr. Osita Nwanisobi, in a statement said the management of the CBN, in line with provisions of Section 2B, Section 18A, and Section 19AB of the CBN Act 2007, had duly sought and obtained the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari in writing to redesign, produce, release, and circulate new series of 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira banknotes. While urging Nigerians to support the currency redesign, the statement adds it's not targeted at any group. The CBN spokesman expressed optimism that the efforts will, among other goals, deepen Nigeria's push to entrench a cashless economy in the face of increased minting of the e-Naira. In continuation of its administration's commitment to providing quality and affordable education, Plateau State government has provided a counterpart funding of 16.7 billion naira towards transforming the educational fortunes of the basic education subsector. Governor Simon Bakulalong gave this hint in Jos while inaugurating an 800-capacity education center and a story building of 6 classrooms, all in Jos. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
In an effort to provide quality education, the state government, through the Plateau State Universal Basic Education Board, is inaugurating this resource center for teachers and also a story building of 6 classrooms. Governor Simon Lalong says government will continue to invest in human capital development of teachers as well as promotion of their welfare. This, he says, is demonstrated by the recruitment of more than 4,000 ad hoc teachers and approval for the release of backlog of promotion of public primary school teachers.
I believe this center will help to mold our teachers for better service delivery by ensuring that the personnel and the practical skills needed for training teachers to succeed is embedded in their lives, into their lives. Similarly, government is partnering with the World Bank under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Project (AJA), which seeks to improve secondary education opportunities for girls in the state.
I want to use this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues, the teeming staff population of the State Universal Basic Education Board, to bring one felicitation to you and words of gratitude for the many efforts you have made to sustain basic education. Not in many states that these are found, Your Excellency, but here ours is actually different. And basic education requires huge investments because of the growing number of children requiring education.
At the Obasanjo Model School, where a 6-block of classrooms was inaugurated, the governor encourages the pupils to put in their best in their studies so that they can be useful citizens. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Plateau State government has also unveiled a computerized vehicle inspection system in a bid to put a check on accidents and to ensure vehicles plying the roads meet international standards. Governor Simon Lalong performed the inauguration at the Vehicle Inspection Office in Jos. Ijeoma Ozemena has details.
The computerized vehicle inspection system is a new way of forestalling road carnage mostly caused by poor maintenance of vehicles. The inspection is categorized into 5 stages of visual, emission, light, alignment system, and the underneath, ascertaining roadworthiness before a certificate is issued to the driver.
The benefit of the new people and all Nigerians.
Governor Simon Lalong says the process is a seamless one that will tackle the level of accidents experienced on the roads.
Part of ensuring the roadworthiness of vehicles on our roads is through the computerized inspection of vehicles. This has become necessary because many vehicles may look healthy on the surface, but deep inside, they are very sick and not robust.
Commissioner for Transport, Mohammed Abubakar Mohammed, described the system as an innovation different from the old means of vehicle inspection, adding that it is a right step in the right direction.
The issuance of roadworthiness certificate will be hinged on the inspection of vehicles at testing centers.
The manager of the facility explains that the vehicle has to pass through stages for roadworthiness, and if a fault is detected, the owner will be given some time to fix it before further assessment. The innovation, the notes, is a welcome development and advise motorists to avail themselves the opportunity provided by the state government to get their vehicles checked. Goodwill messages came from the sector commander, Plateau State Federal Road Safety Corps, the State Internal Revenue Services, and National Union of Road Transport Workers. In Jos, Ijeoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Experts are calling on women to ensure periodic examination of their breast in view of the increasing cases of breast cancer. The call was during an awareness on breast cancer to mark World Breast Cancer Month. Ruth Stephen Hoke reports that the event was organized by Jos University Teaching Hospital.
One of the leading causes of death among women is breast cancer. Globally, efforts are being made by experts to find workable solution to this disease that has claimed many lives. This situation necessitated the Radiation and Oncology Department of Jos University Teaching Hospital to embark on public awareness.
Some of the symptoms will include a breast lump, that's a swelling in the breast, change in skin texture of the skin. The skin can become rough, like the back of an orange. That's some of the things you also notice. Sometimes abnormal discharge from the breast. When you press the nipple, you see maybe a bloody discharge. For some, the breast can become a bit larger than the other.
This survivor says adequate information on breast cancer is required to reduce the rampant cases.
If there is a lump or anything in the breast, people already have diagnosed it may be cancer and they don't want to come out. And that is why sometimes I come out and I voice out, women, please, if there is anything, come out.
With the slogan, "Early detection saves lives," the month of October is dedicated for breast cancer awareness. In Jos, Ruth Stephen Hoke, NTA News.
We have in the studio the HOD, Radiation and Clinical Oncology Department, Jos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Maurice Nandul, to talk more on breast cancer. You're welcome, Doc.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now, every October every year has been declared Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can you shed more light on that?
Breast cancer is the #1 cancer amongst women in Nigeria, and is one of the highest cause of death related to malignancies. So, because of the incidence of this breast cancer increasing in our country, in our community, worldwide, the month of October is being marked to raise awareness about breast cancer. When cancer is detected early, it brings about cure. Patients will be able to get treated in a good time and get the cure that they deserve. But most of the time, the story of cancer in Nigeria have been that of late presentation. Our patients usually come very late. So we feel that raising awareness, going down to the grassroots and talking to women about breast cancer will make them to come to the hospital in a good time. And early presentation will reduce even the burden on treatment, both on the patient and their relatives.
Okay, talking about awareness, talking to women on how to prevent these diseases, what measures do you take to create more awareness on the prevention of the disease?
Well, we rely on media campaigning, worship centers, and this year we decided to go to the markets. The essence is, one, to make the women aware that there is breast cancer, and then let them know that if they present early, it is very treatable and they will be cured from the disease. Breast cancer is not a death sentence. Women should present very early.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Maurice Nando. It's been a fruitful discussion. We'll take a break. Panorama continues. Dr. Maurice.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Back. President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with the family, friends, and relations of Reverend Dr. Austin Ipunam as the social worker, businessman, and publisher turns 60 October 29, 2022. In a statement signed by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President appreciates the grace of God upon the life of the Indiaku Otolu Newi-born cleric in Inewi's North local government area of Anambra State, applauding him for his crusade in dissuading young people from irregular migration through his non-governmental organization, Sweet Home Africa. President Buhari has also lauds the commitment of Epunam to the crusade against breast and cervical cancers, which he takes around the country and beyond. As Epunam turns 60, the president wishes him renewed vigor in his enterprises and greater health and strength to serve God and humanity for a long time to come. A story building harboring flood victims at Aya in Ibaji local government area of Kogi State has collapsed, leaving 5 dead and over 30 injured. Usman Gambo visited the scene of the incident and now reports.
The flood in parts of Kogi State may be receding, but the aftermath remains. The building collapse in Aya, Ibaji local government area, is one of sad tales by flood victims rendered homeless and taking shelter anywhere possible. Eyewitness account points to a compromised foundation of the building as a result of the flood. This, they fear, may affect many more structures in the area.
Never expected such destruction on our people. The flood this year has taught us a lot of lessons.
I'm trying to beg government that they should come to our aid, especially Ibaji.
Some of the injured are receiving medical attention at the Ida Zona Hospital.
We were told that it was the building collapse, and immediately we responded into action with emergency medication. We started the treatment, but at this moment, all of them are stable.
Chairman of Ibaji Local Government Council, Williams Iko Ojo, while sympathizing with families of the victims, appealed to federal and state emergency management agencies to come to their aid.
The government has directed that we should know what it takes to treat them and how to arrange the burial of those that died. For now, that's what we're doing. So, concerning the collapse of the building, what we can do will depend after the water receded.
The plight of flood victims in the area calls for assistance from members of the public. From Ibaji, Kogi State, Usman Gambo, NTA News. Usman Gambo, NTA.
Next is sports updates with Gift George.
Nigeria's under-23 Olympics football team will this evening take on Tanzania under-23 side in the second leg Olympic qualifiers at the Lekon Salami Stadium, Ibadan. Both sides played a 1-1 draw in the first leg in Dar es Salaam. In women's football, Nigeria's representative in the CAF Women's Champions League, Bayelsa Queens, are now in Marrakech, Morocco for the 2022 tournament. After spending almost a week in the capital, Casablanca, the Nigerian Women Football League champions, who are also the Wafu Zone B champions, played a series of warm-up games in Casablanca before departing to Marrakech on Friday. The Prosperity Ladies will face Mamelodi Sundowns in their opening game on Monday. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has reopened the bidding process for the hosting right of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. The continent's soccer governing body has already sent a notice to member associations to express interest in hosting the competition. The deadline for the submission of the declaration of interest is November 11. Guinea was originally scheduled to host the competition, but the West African nation pulled out due to lack of funds. In volleyball, Spartan Spikers of Yola and Chief of Naval Staff Spikers emerged champions of the 2022 National Division I Volleyball League in the men and women's categories on Friday. Spartan Spikers of Yola and Nigerian Immigration Services have gained promotion to the Nigerian Volleyball League in the men's category, while the Chief of Naval Staff Spikers and Lifecamp VC of Abuja have both gotten promotion to the Volleyball Premier League.
Our vision has come to fulfillment, that today Nigeria can raise 3 to 4 under 19.
In para sports, 2 Nigerian power lifters, Roland Ezurike and Bosse Bejide, have won gold and silver medals in the 51 kilogram class and 50 kilogram categories at the ongoing Powerlifting African Open Championship in Cairo, Egypt. The feat is a new record set by the athletes. For the Nigerian Powerlifting Federation, this will enable the powerlifters compete in the second stage of the qualifiers for the 2024 Olympics in Paris. With sports update, Gift George, NTA News.
That has been Panorama today. Be a star, join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Many thanks for watching.
In our society,
There are certain things you take that is good for you at the same time. That's a bad side.
yeah. What is it that you want to leave us with today?
Our Reality with Sky, 10:30 a.m. every Monday, and it repeats at 12 midnight.
Lives are in your hands while you try. Protect yourself and others on the road. Road Matters, shown the network service of the NTA.
Hello, I'm Esther Gido Yuot. This is Africa 54.
Elon Musk takes over Twitter and takes a broom to the executive suite ahead of expected big staff layoffs.